Roman Reigns just slapped every single one of us in the face on Monday Night Raw, and if you're not furious right now, you haven't been paying attention. The Tribal Chief stood in the center of that ring with Seth Rollins by his side and unveiled the new Shield members, and let me tell you something, this isn't a reunion, this isn't a celebration, this is a hostile takeover that spits on the legacy of everything the original Shield built. And the worst part, WWE expects us to cheer for this. They expect us to forget years of betrayal, manipulation, and broken promises because nostalgia sells. Well, I'm not buying it, and after you hear what I have to say, you won't either. Drop your honest reaction in the comments right now because this is about to get real. But hold on, before we absolutely demolish everything that went down on Raw, if you want the unfiltered truth about what's really happening in WWE, you need to subscribe to Ring Rumble 1 and smash that notification bell. We're the only channel that's not afraid to call out the BS and tell you what's really going on behind the scenes. Now let's expose this trainwreck. Monday Night Raw. The arena was electric with anticipation. For weeks, we've been teased about the Shield's return. The cryptic promos, the mysterious attacks, the social media hints, it all led to this moment. Roman's music hit, the crowd erupted, and out walked the Tribal Chief, alongside Seth Rollins. But something was different. The look in their eyes wasn't the hunger of 2012. It wasn't the brotherhood we remembered. It was cold. It was calculated. It was corporate. Roman grabbed that microphone like he owned it, and in his mind, he owns everything in WWE, and he started talking about legacy. About how the Shield changed the industry. About how they were revolutionaries. And for a moment, just a moment, some of us wanted to believe. We wanted to think that maybe, just maybe, this could recapture that magic from over a decade ago. Then he unveiled the new members. And everything made sense in the worst possible way. The arena went dark. The Shield's signature entrance music hit, but it sounded different. Heavier. More aggressive. More violent. And through the crowd came the new members of the Shield, ready to stand alongside Roman and Seth and create what they're calling the most dominant faction in WWE history. But here's what makes this absolutely infuriating. These aren't hungry up-and-comers looking to make their mark. These aren't underdogs fighting against injustice. These are hand-picked corporate soldiers selected specifically to keep Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins at the top of the mountain while everyone else fights for scraps at the bottom. Let's talk about WHO was unveiled, because the identities matter more than you think. Standing there, ready to do Roman and Seth's dirty work, were superstars who've already proven they'll do anything for opportunity. These aren't warriors with a code, they're mercenaries with a price tag. And Roman just bought himself an army. The first new member. An absolute beast of a competitor who's been destroying everyone in their path. Someone with the physical dominance to match Roman's presence and the ruthless aggression to execute Seth's vision. This isn't someone who's going to question orders. This is someone who thrives on chaos and violence, who sees this alliance as a shortcut to championships and main event status. And you know what? They're probably right. Because that's how WWE works now. Align yourself with the right people, and the doors swing wide open. The second new member. This one stings even more because it's someone we've been begging WWE to push properly for years. Someone with incredible talent, charisma, and potential who's been stuck in mid-card purgatory because creative had nothing for them. But suddenly, miraculously, when Roman Reigns needs bodies for his faction, WWE finds something for them. Their inclusion isn't just strategic, it's personal. It's a message to everyone who ever stood against the Shield that the past isn't forgotten, and debts will be collected. Roman stood there on Raw, surrounded by his new army, and you could see it in his face. This isn't about brotherhood. This is about insurance. This is about making absolutely certain that he never loses power again. After his historic title reign ended, after he experienced what it felt like to be vulnerable, Roman decided he would never feel that way again. And if that means corrupting the Shield's legacy, if that means turning what was once a symbol of justice into a symbol of tyranny, so be it. Seth Rollins, standing there with that smug look on his face, was eating it all up. Of course he was. Seth has always been the architect of betrayal, the mastermind of manipulation. This is who he is. But seeing him corrupt new talents, seeing him pass on his philosophy of winning at any cost to the next generation. That's what makes this dangerous. He's not just building a faction, he's creating a culture of backstabbing and opportunism. And the crowd cheered. They popped for the spectacle, for the moment, for the nostalgia. And that's exactly what WWE was counting on. They knew that slapping the Shield name on this would generate buzz, sell merchandise, and distract from the fact that they're creatively bankrupt. They're recycling the same ideas because they know we'll pay to see them, regardless of whether they make sense or honor what came before. Let's talk about what this means for the rest of the roster, because the implications are catastrophic. You've got guys like Chad Gable, who's been putting on absolute clinics every single week, trying to organically get over through pure wrestling excellence. You've got women like Lyra Valkyria, busting their tails to build momentum in a crowded division. You've got tag teams like #Div1C0N, trying to revitalize a dying tag team scene. And now all of them have to contend with a super faction led by 2 former Universal Champions with 3 aggressive enforcers ready to destroy anyone who gets in their way. How is that fair? How does that create compelling television where anyone has a chance? It doesn't. And that's the point. This new Shield exists to create a clear hierarchy in WWE, Roman and Seth at the top, their chosen disciples right below them, and everyone else fighting for whatever's left. It's not about competition. It's not about who's the best wrestler. It's about who's in the right political position. Here's what really happened behind the scenes, and this is information you won't hear on WWE programming. Roman and Seth went to management months ago with this proposal. They pitched it as a dream scenario that would boost ratings, generate social media engagement, and give WWE a dominant heel faction to build stories around for the next year. And management, desperate for guaranteed draws in an increasingly competitive wrestling landscape, approved it without thinking about the long-term consequences. They didn't consider how this would demoralize the rest of the roster. They didn't think about how this would make individual achievement meaningless. They didn't care that this would essentially tell every wrestler not in this faction that they're second-class citizens. Critical thinking. They assumed we wouldn't notice that this new Shield represents everything wrong with modern WWE, the reliance on part-timers and established stars, the refusal to build new talent properly, the constant recycling of old ideas instead of creating new ones. Let's break down each new member's motivation because understanding why they joined tells us everything about where this is heading. New member number 1 joined because they're a predator. They see Roman and Seth as alpha wolves and want to run with that pack. They don't care about honor or legacy, they care about dominance. This person will be the enforcer, the one who handles the physical destruction while Roman handles the psychological warfare. New member number 2 joined out of desperation. After years of being overlooked and underutilized, they finally have a chance at the spotlight. They'll do whatever Roman asks because they believe this is their only shot at relevance. This makes them dangerous because desperate people make reckless decisions. New member number 3 joined for revenge. Someone from their past wronged them, and aligning with Roman and Seth gives them the power and platform to settle old scores. This is a ticking time bomb because revenge-motivated people are unpredictable. They'll follow orders, until their personal vendetta conflicts with the faction's goals. Do you see the problem? This isn't a unified brotherhood like the original Shield. This is a powder keg of competing egos and motivations that Roman thinks he can control. But history has shown us, repeatedly, that these kinds of alliances always implode. The question isn't if this new Shield will fall apart, but when, and how much damage they'll do before that happens. The original Shield fell apart because Seth betrayed Roman and Dean. But they had 3 years of dominance before that happened. 3 years of incredible matches, memorable moments, and genuine chemistry. How long does this new Shield last? 6 months? A year? And what happens to the 3 new members when Roman and Seth inevitably turn on them or each other? They'll be discarded, used up and thrown away like yesterday's trash. Because that's what happens when you align yourself with people who only see you as a tool rather than a partner. Here's what WWE should have done. Instead of reforming the Shield, they should have let Roman and Seth's rivalry continue naturally. They should have built new factions around new stars and created fresh matchups and storylines. They should have trusted their roster to deliver without relying on nostalgia as a crutch. But they didn't. Because WWE has become addicted to the easy pop, the guaranteed reaction, the safe bet. Innovation is risky. Building new stars takes time. Recycling old ideas with new faces. That's easy. And we, the fans, enable this by continuing to watch, continuing to support, continuing to buy into these recycled storylines. We complain about it online, but we still tune in every week. We still attend the shows. We still purchase the merchandise. So why would WWE change? The answer is, they won't. Not unless we demand better. Not unless we make it clear that nostalgia alone isn't enough. Not unless we hold them accountable for lazy, uninspired creative decisions. So here's my challenge to you. Get in those comments right now and tell me exactly how you feel about this new Shield. Are you excited? Are you disgusted? So you never miss when we expose the next corporate disaster. The new Shield is here, and WWE will never be the same. The question is that a good thing or the beginning of the end? Only time will tell, but Ring Rumble 1 will be here every step of the way, holding everyone accountable.